The Bag of Secrets. The tranquil existence of an African village was about to be disrupted by the arrival of a stranger, whose mystery lay not only in his charm but in a curious bag he carried everywhere, a bag that held secrets both heavy and unnerving. Chanda was among the first to spot Mwale, his curiosity piqued by the stranger's confident stride and the heaviness of the bag he carried. Despite its weight, Mwale clutched it possessively, never allowing it out of his sight. The villagers soon gathered, drawn by the magnetic pull of the newcomer. With a disarming smile and an air of humility, Mwale introduced himself as a traveler in search of a place to rest his weary bones. Malako, Chanda's mother, known for her kindness and hospitality, welcomed Mwale into their home without hesitation. She saw him as a weary soul in need of respite, and she was never one to turn away someone seeking shelter. As the days turned into weeks, Mwale's presence in the village became a fixture. He helped the villagers with their daily tasks, sharing his wisdom and tales of far-off lands. His charm was undeniable, and it wasn't long before the villagers regarded him as one of their own. Malako even began to see him as a potential husband and a father figure for Chanda. Chanda was intrigued by the bag Mwale possessively carried around, and he often noticed that on rare occasions when the bag was unattended, it would move ever so slightly, as if it held a restless creature within. One day, curiosity getting the best of him, he dared to approach the bag while Mwale was occupied. He approached the bag cautiously, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and curiosity. As he extended a trembling hand toward the bag, he could feel a faint, eerie vibration emanating from within, like a heartbeat in the darkness. Suddenly, Mwale appeared behind him unexpectedly. His usually warm smile contorted into a fearsome scowl, his eyes narrowing with an unsettling intensity. He rushed forward, his voice taking on a harsh and menacing tone. "Boy, what do you think you're doing?" Chanda stumbled back, startled and afraid, his heart racing like a wild stallion. Mwale's transformation from a charming stranger to a terrifying figure sent shivers down his spine. The bag, once a source of intrigue, now seemed like an ominous presence that held dark secrets. As the bond between Mwale and Malako deepened, Chanda and Mwale's deteriorated. He yearned for his mother's happiness, but this, he was sure, was not it. From the day Chanda tried to investigate the bag, his existence became a relentless struggle, an arduous journey in the clutches of a man he would soon be forced to acknowledge as his stepfather. Dark eyes, colder than the unforgiving night, bore into Chanda's soul, following his every move within the desolate confines of the compound. Behind his mother's back, Mwale's fists rained down on Chanda's innocent form, his relentless blows striking at the boy's fragile spirit. He bestowed upon Chanda names designed to break his spirit: coward, weakling. But Chanda harbored a fire within, a defiance that refused to be extinguished. He knew he was no coward, no weakling. The day would come when he would unveil his true strength and reveal the true coward that lurked within Mwale. As the days turned into weeks, Mwale's hold on Malako tightened like the creeping vines in a dense African jungle. His presence seemed to envelop her, isolating her from the friends and the village that had once been her sanctuary. It was as if a veil of enchantment had fallen over her, and she moved through their compound in a trance, her eyes distant and her laughter replaced by an eerie silence. The talk of marriage between Malako and Mwale buzzed like a persistent insect in the village. The mere mention of it sent shivers down Chanda's spine. He watched helplessly as his mother, the embodiment of love and warmth, drift further away from him. It was as if Mwale had sunk his claws into her heart, ensnaring her with promises of a future that only he seemed to understand. Chanda had tried to reason with his mother, to express his concerns about the enigmatic stranger and the secrets hidden within the bag. But he had no evidence, only his instincts and the unsettling suspicions. Mwale, on the other hand, would spend hours alone with the bag, secluded from prying eyes, engaged in whispered conversations with an unseen entity. Chanda strained his ears to eavesdrop on their discussions, and the snippets of dialogue he caught only deepened his unease. "I am hungry," the voice would say from within the bag. "Just a matter of time, patience," came the reply, as though from another world. "You said that yesterday. How much longer?" "Patience, please," Mwale's pleading voice would respond, laden with desperation. The ominous conversation froze Chanda in his tracks, confirming his worst fears. He had heard tales of forest creatures, goblins or fae, known to latch onto homes, siphoning away the life and vitality of those within until they moved on, leaving behind only graves. Chanda knew he had to act swiftly. There was a seer rumored to possess ancient knowledge, someone who could pierce through the veil of the unknown. It was a half-day's journey, but he was determined and driven by a fierce love for his mother. The wedding day arrived in a flurry of activity, with the village awash in celebration, dancing, and jubilation. Congratulations poured in from all directions, and the air was filled with laughter and music. However, amidst the revelry, Chanda's unease festered. He said he would be here, Chanda thought, his anxiety mounting. His mind drifted back to his encounter with the seer, a mysterious figure who had given him hope. The seer's words had lingered in Chanda's thoughts, reassuring him that he was on the right path. You might be dealing with a goblin or changeling, the seer had told him. You did well coming to me. You said there will be a wedding soon. Yes, Chanda replied, then expect me on the day. As the wedding festivities reached their zenith, Chanda's anxious gaze scanned the horizon. And then, he saw it, a lone figure on the horizon, drum in hand. The rhythm of the seer's drum grew louder and more insistent with each step, but it was nearly drowned out by the cacophony of the wedding drums. The seer's arrival shrouded the village in an eerie silence. The guests were baffled, for the seer was a rare sight, only appearing on the most rarest of occasions. Chanda's heart swelled with hope. The moment of truth had arrived. There is an evil man among you, and today, I shall reveal him for all to see, the seer boomed, his voice carrying an otherworldly weight. Wallace's expression shifted from confusion to dread. He knew his time was running out, and he needed to act swiftly. Quietly excusing himself from the wedding, Wale hurried back to his hut, grabbing his bag and clothes. He had encountered these situations before and knew the importance of a hasty escape. We have to be on the move, he whispered to the bag, eliciting a faint, frustrated groan. With urgency in his movements, Wale opened his door to flee. But the seer was already upon him, and the villagers had formed a determined blockade. There was no way out. Panic surged through Wale, and he desperately implored, just let me go. I am not here to cause any trouble. Please, let me go. Pushing his way through the crowd, he frantically sought an escape route. In the chaos, the bag slipped from his grip, hitting the ground with a jarring screech. From within, a creature wriggled free, maneuvering between the villagers' legs and disappearing into the thick bushes nearby. As the village watched in astonishment, Wale ran into the nearby forest, vanishing, never to be seen again. The veil that had shrouded Malako's eyes was finally lifted, and she stood in shock, wondering why everyone had gathered at her home to celebrate. For Chanda, it was a moment of profound relief and joy. He had his mother back, and the village was freed from the sinister presence that had threatened to ensnare them all. Thank you for watching our story, The Bag of Secrets, and we hope you enjoyed it. What lessons did you draw from this story? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of the tribe. Thank you for watching The Tales of the Savanna. We will see you next time, in the Savanna.